And so today I'm presenting SemStamp, a semantic watermark for paraphrastic robustness for text generation. So we have a manuscript on archive, but we are making many improvements on the algorithm. So yeah, I'll currently talk about the current stage of the algorithm. And yeah, this is collaboration with many people and at here and also UW and that's other places. So let me start my talk with explaining why watermark generation is needed for large language models. And so that's because now LLMs are becoming more and more powerful. The detection of machine-generated text has become crucial to prevent the misuse of LLMs. So for example, if some malicious user use the LLM to generate fraud or plagiarism, then we can post hoc detect it using some detector. And then one method to facilitate the detection of machine-generated text is to adding a watermark during generation, which is adding algorithmically detectable signatures during generation that are imperceptible to humans. And then now comes a very famous work by Kirchenbauer et al. On a watermark for large language models. And so this algorithm operates by adding a bias to the next token logits over a green list subset of vocabulary, and where the green list is pseudo-randomly generated by using the previous token as the hash. So after adding the watermark, the generated text has mostly green listed tokens, so that we can easily detect whether the watermark is present by testing on the ratio of green list token in the generation. However, because the key aspect here is that the watermark mask of green list change for each token, and that is determined by the previous token as the hash. So that's when we change the previous token, for example, if you paraphrase the generation, then the green list assignment is completely off. So that's your watermark will be vulnerable paraphrase attacks. And also because this algorithm adds noise directly to the logits, then it will also hurt quality and damage the perplexity. And because of this weakness, we propose a semantic watermark that is on the sentence level instead of the token level. And by intuition, we basically, instead of masking the token level vocabulary space, we mask on the sentence level semantic space. And the intuition is that the semantic of the sentence should not be changed even after paraphrasing. So that's our watermark splits will be stable. Yeah, and so the two core components of our SemStamp algorithm is first a sentence encoder that is robust to paraphrasing, and we use fine-tuned sentence bird in this case, and also is how to actually partition the semantic space, which we use locality-sensitive hashing. So here is a more detailed overview of how do we partition the space. And each dot on this figure here represents a potential next sentence sampled from the language model and then embedded into the sentence embedding space using the sentence burst encoder. And then we use LSH to partition the space using some random hyperplanes. So that's in this case, the 2D embedding space is partitioned into 4 regions. And then we pseudo-randomly divide the semantic space into a valid region, some valid region, and some blocked region by hashing on the previous sentence and instead of the previous token. And so the overview of our algorithm is that a combination of rejection sampling from the language model and also the encoding and hashing of the semantic space. So the first step before you generate anything, you initialize the LSH hyperplanes, and then it will be fixed over the generation process. And this initialization is private, so only known to the LLM provider. And next, if we are given a context and want to sample the next sentence, we sample multiple candidates and then encode them into the semantic space. And we use the previous sentence, which is Lucy smiles in this case, to divide the region into the valid and blocked regions through locality-sensitive hashing. And then we finally select a candidate sentence that is in the valid region as the next sentence. So we can see that these sentences are not in the region we want, and then we select the she was happy as the next sentence. So that's so note that this is rejection sampling takes so you need to sample more than one sentences to generate a single sentence. However, because these sentences all have the same context, so it can be easily batched during generation. And our intuition on the robustness to paraphrase attack is that assuming the robustness of the sentence encoder, then the embedding of the sentence would be in the same region even after paraphrasing. So if you have a dot over here, and then after paraphrasing, it would just move around, but still within the same region. So it wouldn't break the watermark in that case. However, in practice, we found that it is not always robust, even if we use a very robust encoder. And that is because if some sentence is selected that is at the boundary of this region, then it could still like move around a little bit and go inside another region. So what we do is we add another rejection margin where we only accept the sentences whose embeddings is in the middle of subspace. So basically reject everything near the boundary of the hyperlinks. And this actually is very effective in making the LSH signature consistent. So here is some results on this algorithm, and so what we should so the first plot or up there is the detection accuracy under paraphrasing or without paraphrasing. So without paraphrasing, the our algorithm and the base algorithms are equally good, but against paraphrasing, then our SemStamp is much more robust and have a much less accuracy drop. And down below, there's a small table for the quality of generation. And we can see that the baseline algorithm actually increased the perplexity by some margin, while our SemStamp is keeping the perplexity about the same. So yeah, that's the basically for my talk today. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Questions? Yeah.
Like, what if there are multiple sentences, like all following the valid subregion of your partition? Like, which one do we choose from that subset as the final sentence to continue?
So I said like we can do batching, but we haven't implemented that yet. So we just sample sentence one by one, and the first sentence that is in the valid region is the sentence we will choose. Yeah, but that would be a problem if we actually do batching.
Mhm.
On slide 7, Facebook method, I didn't understand like 2A regarding the previous sentence.
Yeah. So the division of the semantic space actually have two parts. So at first you need the hyperplanes, which is basically the two black lines here to decide how to partition the space, and that is determines before you generate anything from the language model. And but at each step of the generation, we need to change which of these four regions we select as the valid region for the next sentence. And for that, we need to vary for each sentence of generation, and that is determined using the previous sentence as the hash.
More questions? I have a couple of questions. So is this planned to be, or the idea is that this is added in cascade to a language model, or is it like the language model trying to do already the watermarking?
So we don't have to change anything about the language model itself. So all we need is to sample. So when generating each sentence, we sample more candidates, and then like you can see that the encoder and it is complete separate thing.
Okay, you can sync candidates. Okay, I understand.
Mhm.
And the question is like, okay, can you evaluate if this process really generates worse responses, let's say, because from all the candidates,
Mhm.
well, you choose the one that is better for watermarking, but
Mhm.
that's not necessarily the better
Mhm.
candidate. Is there a way to evaluate if this is affecting the performance of the?
Mhm. Yeah. There's I think people have concern that so we only select one or like a subpart of all the regions possible. So it might like harm some diversity of the generation. So in the table here, we use this Nt3 metric, which calculates the n-gram token entropy of the generation. So that's a measure of token level diversity. And like we found that it's only decreasing the diversity by a little bit. So it has some effects on diversity, but not that severe according to our metrics.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mhm.
No, it's
Yeah.
a really question. So can you go back to this that one? So is it possible to have nothing in the body region
So
or the other?
yeah, it could be. It's one concern when we were like initially developing the method. That's when you sample like things from the language model, that's the region is not uniform across the region. But interestingly, it's pretty uniform in our test cases. So our case is generating on new data sets and book sum. So on these data sets, it seems to be pretty uniform. So. And actually, like if we don't add the rejection margin here, then so suppose we generate like 100 sentence, then about like 25 will be in this valid region. So yeah. But yeah, but it the rate decrease if we add the margin.
That margin it depends on what.
It's basically depends on the cosine similarity with the normal vectors of these hyperplanes. So yeah, if it's the similarity with the normal vector is too small, then we then like we know that it's on some near some boundary of that.
Value, right? Again,
Sorry, what? Yeah. Yeah. So it's a hyperparameter that we could tune, and yeah, it depends on a lot of things, but we found this pretty useful.
Oh, Jason raised hand.
Yeah, Jason, you also have a question?
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm remote here. Can you hear me okay?
Even know that's something new.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting this. Okay, you have 30 seconds. Yeah, Jason, go ahead.
Right. Can you, so this is a great idea for getting rid of paraphrase attacks. Can you talk about remaining attacks? Like what happens if I insert another sentence or change the order of two sentences?
Yeah, it is not robust to that kind of attack, unfortunately. But another thing is so now our unit is sentence. So essentially, we could change the unit to something like a paragraph or a couple of sentence level. So
right. The problem is then rejection rate goes up
yeah.
if you still want to have the same robustness.
Yeah, and also another thing is the z-score of detection would be smaller. So essentially, if the unit is larger, then it will require more text to have a confidence signal that this is indeed watermark. So it is a trade-off selecting between robustness and detection.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder if there's any way to work in the other invariances, but I think my 30 seconds are up. Thanks for this talk.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.